On Kochie's Business Builders, the husband and wife team wanting help to take their idea to the world. Also, a software company taking people back in time with the help of virtual reality. Plus, recognise this brand, how a real estate family built a trusted brand. Hello and welcome to Kochie's Business Builders. We've all heard of Tinder, the matchmaking app for people in search of love. But what about socially isolated people who just need someone to spend time with? Well, we've found it. A social enterprise business with big plans, and I love it. It's a tech startup called Homecare Heroes, connecting people from all walks of life. The co-founders launched the business 19 months ago and now want to go global. So we've teamed them up with a mate of mine, the chief executive of Fishburners, a not-for-profit co-working space dedicated to supporting tech startups just like Homecare Heroes. Here's a husband and wife on a mission to change the world with the help of Annie from Fishburners. Matt and Jenna want to match the community's most vulnerable with someone known as a hero. It's an inspired idea with very personal roots.
My dad was diagnosed with lung cancer, and my mom suffered from a vicious brain virus called encephalitis. As an only child, that meant that overnight I became the primary carer for both my parents. At the time, our biggest problem wasn't getting them the medical services, it was finding a way for them to engage in the community. And then amazingly, one day we had a friend visiting Sydney from the United States, and her name is actually Destiny.
No way.
Yeah, that's literally her name. She took my parents to the beach. She even played guitar with my dad because he was a jazz musician, and she helped them with groceries. And it helped that she was an attractive 25-year-old. And being my dad, I've never seen him do so much exercise in his life, following her around everywhere.
Since launching Homecare Heroes, Matt and Jenna have matched 450 people with a hero. Their business plan is so successful, the tech startup has received funding from the National Disability Insurance Scheme.
So that's helped our business grow. But I think most importantly, it's helped the industry, the disability industry, evolve both for customers and for businesses.
So Jen, is it a volunteer platform that you're running, or do people actually get paid for being a hero?
So people are paid to be heroes, and it's a $25 an hour. So the reason that we wanted to do that is because we want to harness the power of community to solve social isolation.
And the founders have big plans for the future.
So Jen, where do you want to see the business in 12 months' time?
In 12 months, we want to have expanded to 2 more capital cities in Australia. So right now we're just in Sydney and the Central Coast. And at the end of 2018, we want to move into a global city as well, because social isolation is a human problem and it's not just an issue for us in Australia.
So you want to see Homecare Heroes going global?
Yes.
Fantastic. The way I like to look at it at this stage is your sell, I think, should be to an angel investor or VC. Our business is working, our customers are happy, there is more opportunity out there that we're not able to service right now. So if you can give us a few $100,000, we'll be able to go to those 2 or maybe even 4 or 6 cities in Australia, or maybe even go globally quicker because you're able to help us with that capital investment.
Coming up, Annie shares tips on how Matt and Jenna can take Homecare Heroes to the world. Did you know 8 in 10 small business owners don't fully understand their workplace safety obligations? New research has found more than half of employers wouldn't know what to do should an employee get injured. Furthermore, a third of small businesses turn to the internet for quick fix answers. That's because owners say they find the workplace safety rules too complex and struggle to keep up with the changes and also the paperwork. As a result, only 1 in 5 owners feel confident about implementing a workplace safety plan. About 5 million Australians are employed by small business. Given these findings, this isn't just a workplace issue, but a national issue. You need good advice on this, or you're very much at risk.
Hi, I'm Saoirse from Chocolate Charlie's. Our business is so successful, we have recently won an Outstanding Small Business Award. We're supporting KBB's campaign for optimism. There's never been a better time to be in small business.
Now, we'd love to hear your inspiring business success stories and your tips. So join our campaign for optimism and visit the KBB website. Now back to Fishburners HQ, where Chief Executive Annie Parker is advising a tech startup on how to scale globally. Matt and Jenna are the co-founders of Homecare Heroes, a group trying to solve the issue of social isolation.
So we've been running for 19 months now and things are going pretty well. Like, we've got steady growth and we've been able to operate with our cash flow. But we want to scale. So what are your recommendations for what we should do?
So I think it's probably time for you guys to start thinking about going to the funding market and speaking to some angel investors or an early stage VC fund to see if there's interest and appetite in giving you that capital so that your business can just grow faster.
There's a lot to think about when choosing an investor or advisor.
First advice I would give you is how to pick one investor or an advisor over another. It's like anything, you need to go on a lot of dates. You need to figure out whether or not you really do get along with each other, similar to how you might match a hero to a customer. There needs to be a connection because this relationship that you're going to have with the investor is more than likely going to last for at least 3 to 5 years. Similar to how you chose Matt as your partner. You know, you didn't do that on one date, I assume. This took quite a few conversations, and give them a job to do. So to test them out, see whether or not they're actually going to work really well with you, that they do follow up on things, that they actually do deliver on what they said they were going to do.
So because we want to go global, how do we do that?
It's a question I get asked a lot. The trick here is to find a market that isn't too dissimilar from the one that you're already operating in. So potentially choose an English-speaking market. Look at markets that already have similar rules and regulations to the ones here in Australia. Second advice I would give you is be really specific about where you're going next. When you're going from Australia to another market, everything that you do, not just building the technology, but everything that you're building when you go there becomes the rule book, if you like, of wherever else you go next. Airbnb has one, Uber has one. When they launch in a new market, it's not just that they're launching the technology, it's they've got all of their processes of how to go, how to recruit, how to onboard, how to market to a new city or new country. All of that becomes your secret power.
Definitely some great advice from Andy that all tech startups could follow. Now to our Pillars of Success segment. Julia Bickerstaff from the Business Bakery has some all-important advice on how to collect cash quicker.
This week's pillar of success is collecting cash quicker. If there's one thing that many of us can do a lot better, it's to cut the time it takes to turn our sales into cash. Did you know that many of us have up to 1/4 of our entire year's revenue sitting as unbilled or in debtors? It's crazy. So how can we get our customers to pay more quickly? First up, ask your customers to pay a deposit to secure their purchase and make the deposit sizable, so a minimum 25% of the total purchase price. Next, do your invoicing quickly. You might feel it's more productive to batch your invoicing monthly, but it's hurting your cash flow. Thirdly, look at your payment terms. Lots of businesses state 30-day payment terms in their invoices, but you really don't need to be this generous. Instead, say your payment terms are upon receipt. This doesn't mean your customer will actually pay on receipt of the invoice, but it does mean you can start pursuing the cash straight away. Fourthly, think about a late payment surcharge. This isn't infallible, but it does encourage your more ethical and cost-conscious customers to pay on time. And finally, you need to chase your debtors. You might feel uncomfortable calling your customers for cash, but unfortunately, many businesses simply don't pay until they've been hounded. If you don't want to do this yourself, you can delegate to someone in your business, but teach them to do this with friendly persistence. Making friends with your customers' accounts payable team is the #1 way to get paid quickly.
Still to come, it's one of the most recognised names in real estate. The boss of Ray White shares his tips for success.
My name's Brian White. I'm the chairman of the Ray White Group, fourth generation family business that's now become the leader in this industry across Australia and New Zealand. My advice to you is all around leadership. There are three key elements in this, which separates the concept of manager and leader. The difference between the two is massive. The first thing about leadership is knowing what it is that you want. Leaders always underestimate the impact they have with their people. Your people want to know what it is that is important. And the second element in leadership is ensuring that your people know what it is that you want in depth, not just sort of superficial statements. And the third element of leadership is ensuring that when your people deliver what it is that you want and what it is that's important to you, that they're told. And they're told enthusiastically. Good luck to you all.
And it's impressive to see Ray White has remained a family-owned business since it was founded way back in 1902. Now to another business story inspired by a man's wish to take his grandfather back in time with the help of virtual reality. Oceanic Studios is a software company providing aged care patients with an escape from everyday life. Here's co-founder Beau Barnett.
My grandfather was in a hospice before he passed away, and we got talking about his younger years growing up in Manchester in England, and he said he always wanted to go back. So VR was in its infancy then, and I tried to get all the technology together, but it was pretty hard. So he passed away before I could show him that. But, you know, I thought, you know, if he would have really enjoyed that, then other people in a similar situation would enjoy that as well. We created some VR technology for the aged care industry. That's a purpose-built kiosk with a touchscreen that they can wheel around to residents and pop a headset on them, press a button and take them off to hot air balloon over the Alps or gondola ride down Venice or to explore a museum or hang out with some tigers. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Intel's been a great supporter of ours. They allow us to use their technology to create experiences. They speed up the process and access to new tools and technology. We're very lucky to have Intel as a partner. They find that some of the residents who aren't engaging as well as they used to with their family members, they put them in the VR simulation and they might take a Google Earth trip to their town in Italy that they grew up in. It makes them feel alive and makes them feel young again, and it really has a really positive impact, just not on the resident but also on their family as well. We find that if you do really good work, then people take notice. So yeah, it's more about just being true to the core principles of doing really, really great work, you know, being on time and being on budget and, you know, making your customers feel well represented. I started when I was 24 and I just jumped straight in. So I had something I wanted to do, which was remake those old games. So I just kept working at it and I didn't take no for an answer. It was really, really, really hard, you know, being that young. I think times have changed. I think people expect you to be that young these days. So I wouldn't take age as a hindrance. Just make sure your idea is sound and, you know, you do need to make money out of it. At the end of the day, you need to be able to pay your bills and put food on the table. But you also need to do something that you love as well. Those two things together are pretty hard, but if you work at it, you can get there. Being a business owner, you wear more than one hat. So yeah, you do work quite a lot, but you know, that's part of the fun and part of the challenge. Virtuality is a funny technology. You can tell people how awesome it is and how great it is, but until they actually put the headset on and experience it for themselves, and they have that moment of clarity, it's really, really hard to get people to understand what it's like. People think of VR like a hoverboard. It's the future, it's not here yet, and if it is, then it's not great, but it is, it's awesome. So it's really hard to get people to understand what it is without putting them through it. We're just using the technology in a positive way, and it makes us feel great. You know, I mean, it's a really nice, positive outcome that we can have to do something that we love, but obviously other people love as well.
Like Beau says, never take no for an answer. Look, if you have a small business, you need to join Small Business First. Birgit from Nordic Reflex did, giving her access to exclusive discounts, free publicity, expert advice and a whole lot more. She runs a business selling wearable reflectors to help keep pedestrians and cyclists safe and visible on our roads. It's a great idea. To join the community for free, go to the Small Business First website.
In my idea of the office of the future, there certainly won't be any wires to worry about. A technology called Intel WiGig, also known as Intel Wireless Gigabit, is already making this happen. It's a high-speed wireless docking system that delivers instant, seamless connectivity, replacing the need to use cables to connect your laptop or two-in-one to your HD monitor, keyboard, mouse, USB storage, or wired Ethernet connection. So what does this mean? You can now wirelessly connect all of your devices automatically without cables and without touching a button. So for example, when you get up from your desk and take your laptop to a meeting, you don't need to unplug from your keyboard, your monitor, or your mouse. You simply pick it up and take it with you. And when you return to your desk, you don't need to plug anything in. You'll be automatically connected to all of your peripherals, so you can start working again straight away. It also means you can place your laptop anywhere you like on your desk without restrictions of messy cables. And your content is protected during the pairing and data transfer process with encrypted communications based on Intel WiGig technology. This is available right now through a number of different computer manufacturers, so if you want to add WiGig to your current computer, check with your PC provider to find out if your laptop or two-in-one can support Intel WiGig technology and the Intel Wireless Dock Manager.
Time now for our Ask Kochie segment. Earlier this week, an independent grocer got in touch asking whether sending Christmas cards to customers and suppliers are still worth it. I must admit, I've been wondering the same thing. So I teamed up with an expert from Snap to get the answer.
Hey Kochie, my name is Brendan Irvine. Red Hill Express in Canberra. We're a local independent supermarket. Leading into the Christmas season, I was just wondering whether you think there's any benefit in still sending out Christmas cards.
Thanks for your question, Brendan. I cannot believe it's already that time of year again. You've certainly got a head start on me when it comes to getting organised for Christmas. Good on you. I have to say, though, that I've noticed over the last few years the number of Christmas cards I get from family and friends has fallen. When it comes to business, though, Cindy, it's sort of a very similar trend, isn't it?
Yeah, well, David, even in today's digital world, Australians still have a love affair with greeting cards, spending over $500 million a year on them. In fact, Brendan, globally, we're the 4th largest spenders in the world, just slightly behind the US, UK and the Netherlands, with Christmas cards making up 47% of the spend. And despite significant increase in new avenues of communication, such as emails, e-cards and SMS, the greeting card spend continues to grow. So in a business sense, receiving a greeting card is so much more personal and powerful. It's all about relationships in business. So whether you own a small company or run a large corporation, business Christmas cards and New Year holiday cards are one of the best ways to show and express your appreciation and thank your clients for their continued support.
Okay, so they're important, they can be quite powerful. What tips would you give Brendan to make sure his Christmas cards sort of get the impact, have the wow factor, if you like?
Well, Kochie, if possible, Brendan, I'd send a card with a handwritten message. Research shows a handwritten note is 4 times more powerful than a typed or emailed note. And Brendan, I'd use the opportunity to make a specific comment to an individual, perhaps drawing on a business lunch or meeting the two of you attended. But I understand that operating on a tight budget may prevent you from sending Christmas cards to all your suppliers, but if you can afford the extra effort, it's certainly well worth it.
Yep. Okay, what about design then with your Christmas card? What sort of options does Brendan and other small business owners have?
Firstly, it's important to choose a unique design. Now, the best designs always reflect the professionalism of the business, but don't be afraid to add in some personalisation. This can include your client's name, their company logo, or a personal message in the actual design of the card. So our Snap centres across Australia work with print personalisation on a daily basis and can help you design something unique to your clients if you get stuck for ideas. So for you in particular, Brendan, Christmas cards can be used to thank your suppliers and loyal customers for their ongoing support. It's also a great way to build client loyalty and to add that personal touch to help set yourself apart from your competitors.
Yeah, and talk to your Snap franchisee as well, because I reckon they would have sent out thousands of Christmas cards over the years and would know which ones work best and which don't, and
Yes.
get the feedback. So they can sort of be your advisor on that, can't they?
Absolutely. So they're your local expert in your area.
Okay. All right. Thanks for that, Cindy. Well, there you are, Brendan. In answer to your question, yep, sending Christmas cards is still something all business owners should be doing to get that cut through, to get that personalisation, to say to clients and suppliers, gee, thanks for supporting us. And don't forget, if you've got a question, be sure to send it in to kbb@pinstripemedia.com.au and we'll do our best to answer it for you. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas
Merry
to you,
Christmas.
Cindy. In our next show, tips on tendering to get a slice of big government projects. It could be worth a fortune to your business. See you next time for Kochie's Business Builders.